The search for alien life has taken us all over the galaxy. We've peered into distant nebulae, monitored far-off planetary systems, and charted mysterious stars that are sometimes thousands of light years away from us. But still, no matter how much further out our technologies enable us to look, there's a suspicion that science just can't shake about the worlds that are closest to us. For so much of the 20th century, our research rounded on Mars in particular. But increasingly, we're now heading in the opposite direction, toward the Sun and to the Earth's so-called evil twin, Venus. This is Unveiled, and today we're answering the extraordinary question, did scientists just discover alien life in the clouds of Venus? Do you need the big questions answered? Are you constantly curious? Then why not subscribe to Unveiled for more clips like this one, and ring the bell for more thought-provoking content? By now, it's widely known just how bad a reputation Venus unfortunately has. While the way humans have perceived Mars over the years has just about managed to remain within the realms of optimism as we look for potential homes away from Earth, the outlook for Venus has never really offered anything other than it being a harsh and merciless place. Traditionally, we've thought of Venus as a hellish world, toxic and choking, and almost certainly inhospitable to life. And yet, just as times change, reputations can also be rebuilt. And nowadays, Venus is quite unexpectedly coming to the fore once again. Something of a Venusian renaissance could be just around the corner. Scientists generally believe that the key could lie in the clouds. So many of the most recent studies and news stories surrounding Venus focus on, or at least mention, the upper atmosphere of this not-so-far-away planet. It's been invariably theorized that, at a certain level in that atmosphere, in the clouds, there might be some of the best conditions for life found anywhere else in the solar system. Conditions the likes of which Mars could never hope to offer, seeing as it has almost zero atmosphere. Moving into 2022, however, and the situation has developed again, with one particular study suggesting something that, if it were found to be true, would surely constitute one of the greatest scientific discoveries of all time: existing life on Venus. The study in question first made headlines in late December 2021 through a joint initiative run by an international team based at the Cardiff and Cambridge universities in the UK and MIT in the US. And not for the first time when it comes to research aimed at Venus, it focused on the apparent presence of ammonia in the Venetian clouds. This has always been seen as a major anomaly about the planet, debated since the 1970s, because ammonia, which requires hydrogen, shouldn't really be there. Venus is known to be blistering hot and highly acidic, even miles above the surface, and so it shouldn't really be possible for ammonia to form. But despite that, it seemingly has. It's previously been suggested that the ammonia might have come about through some kind of natural event, such as a volcanic eruption. But this latest study errs more toward an alternative and biological explanation. According to the study, it could be that tiny microbes of some kind are instead responsible for generating the anomalous gas. It may be that no natural event could generate the level of ammonia tentatively measured on Venus, no matter how explosive the eruption or how large the storm. To maintain the supply that the planet seemingly has then, there needs to be something else, and a life form of some kind could be that something else. What's more, if life is producing ammonia on Venus, then those behind the study calculate that the process in itself could be triggering a, quote, cascade of chemical reactions to make the environment more habitable. In other words, while most of Venus remains almost certainly inhospitable, the potential presence of ammonia-producing life could itself be creating an environment that is more hospitable to life in the first place. It's thought that the presence of ammonia could ultimately neutralize the incredible acidity of Venus, so that, while it remains far more acidic than most environments on Earth, it could feasibly be possible for life to survive there. An article by the Cardiff University refers to it as a, quote, self-sustaining chain of events, while a write-up by MIT refers to a, quote, self-sustaining habitable pocket in the clouds. So with all of this in mind, can we truly say that scientists have just discovered life in the clouds of Venus? The answer is still no, and Earth remains the only planet on which we're certain that life exists. What this study hasn't managed to do is to uncover irrefutable evidence that life definitely is happening elsewhere. What it does do, however, is it shows how misguided it could be to continue to discount life when debating the ammonia anomaly on Venus. Instead, might we begin to consider the presence of ammonia more seriously as one of the surest signs of life we've yet seen elsewhere in the solar system? One of the study's co-authors, Professor Sarah Seeger from MIT, is quoted as saying that, quote, ammonia shouldn't be on Venus, and that any gas that doesn't belong in the context of its environment is automatically suspicious for being made by life, end quote. Clearly, that's the avenue that this study has set out to explore. So what might we expect in the future? Excitingly, Venus is a major target for various space agencies and private space companies as we look to better our understanding of the solar system around us. June 2021 proved an especially significant month, as 3 Venus missions were announced by NASA and ESA within just a few days: Da Vinci Plus, Veritas, and Envision. NASA describes Da Vinci Plus as the first US-led mission to Venus's atmosphere since 1978. It's scheduled to launch between 2028 and 2030 and will primarily investigate how the Venusian atmosphere came to evolve into its current scorching condition. Veritas, another NASA project, and also tabled to launch around 2028, will focus more on the surface of Venus. The hope is to extensively map the planet, including its topography, so that we might one day know its grounds as well as we already know Mars's. Finally, Envision is the collaboration with NASA led by the European Space Agency ESA. It will also take a closer look at the Venusian atmosphere and surface features, again aiming to get a better grasp of how the planet came to be so hostile. It could yet be that the big space agencies are a little late to the party, however. With the possible exception of the proposed 2024 ISRO mission, most of the world's other upcoming state-funded plans for Venus are scheduled to launch toward the end of the 2020s only. But the privately funded Venus LifeFinder missions could take place much sooner. These are a potential series of missions primarily organized by MIT, with the same Professor Sarah Seeger leading the venture. The first Venus LifeFinder launch could reportedly happen as soon as 2023, and though it may not generate quite the level of mainstream attention that, say, a NASA launch does, if the LifeFinder probes do reach their target, it's said that they will head straight for the topic of today's video, the Venusian clouds, in search of life. More so than with most planets, the situation on Venus is certainly a developing story. We've become fascinated with it over recent years because of the extremes it presents to us, but also because of the various theories that at one time in the distant past, Venus might not have been so different to Earth. Because of that, the race is on to understand what happened there, and to determine whether Earth could ever meet a similar fiery, acidic, and just generally unfriendly fate. But for now, and regardless of all of that, any alien world that harbors the possibility of extraterrestrial life, even if it's microbial extraterrestrial life, is going to demand attention. The ammonia on Venus has long had scientists puzzled, but this contemporary study proposes a new way to look at the problem. Could it be that tiny life forms are holding up a self-sustaining environment over there, battling against all odds to stay alive? Ultimately, the answer is that no, scientists haven't discovered alien life in the clouds of Venus just yet. But we could be on the verge of discovering it, or at least of finding out just what really happened to our world's so-called evil twin. What do you think? Is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments. Check out these other clips from Unveiled, and make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for our latest content.